When we think of Central Asia, we often picture vast grasslands where herds of cattle roam freely. However, behind these images lies a booming cattle industry, bringing both economic and cultural value to the region. The cattle farming and trading markets in Central Asia are dominated by countries such as Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan, who are the major producers. These nations are developing specialized areas to optimize beef production, while also improving the quality of meat and dairy products. The people have maintained a nomadic herding system for thousands of years. Families still practice free-range herding, where cattle move seasonally across natural pastures. This method allows the cattle to graze on nutrient-rich land while taking advantage of nature with minimal labour costs. In addition, they raise strong local cattle breeds. These cattle are not only resilient to the arid climate, but also provide valuable meat and wool, offering good profits for herders. For farmers in the Kyrgyzstan Republic, cattle farming is a vital source of income. Over the past 20 years, the number of cattle in the country has increased by 60%. Although this growth has boosted the economy for many farmers, it has also contributed to the degradation of grasslands. The people of Central Asia are adopting modern livestock farming techniques. At many modern farms, farmers use sensor systems and software to monitor the health, weight, and productivity of each animal. This helps to optimize the farming process, minimizing disease risks and improving product quality. The shift from traditional herding to modern feedlot methods, combined with technology such as temperature-controlled barns and optimized nutrition, has brought significant economic benefits. Central Asia is not only known for its resilient native cattle breeds, capable of withstanding harsh climates, but also for developing important hybrid breeds. These hybrid cattle offer higher meat yields and tender, nutrient-rich meat, meeting the growing demands of the international market. Beef from Central Asia is distinguished by its bright red colour and evenly distributed marbling, making it more appealing on dining tables in Russia and China. In Kyrgyzstan, the famous Karakol livestock market is one of the most active places for trading cattle. Here buyers can directly inspect the appearance and behaviour of the calves. They often check the coat, skin, teeth, and legs to assess the calves' health. Some buyers request that the calves be let outside to observe their movement and reactions. This helps them to evaluate whether the calves have any issues with their legs or nervous systems. Once a deal is reached, the exchange of cash takes place right at the market. The calves are then transported to the farm to begin their new journey. Calves need their mother's milk during the first few weeks of life to develop healthily. Farmers collect milk and feed the calves using specialized bottles or tubes. After a few weeks of milk feeding, the calves begin to transition to soft foods, such as hay and small grains. Farmers often prepare separate shelters for calves, especially during the first few days to protect them from the cold, as their immune systems are still weak. In the summer, when the grass grows abundantly, farmers harvest hay to store as feed for the cattle during winter. The hay is either cut manually or by machines and then left to dry for several days under the sun to retain its nutrients. Once the hay is dry, farmers collect and store it in large storage facilities or barns near the cattle shelters. This ensures they have enough feed for the cattle throughout the winter, when natural pastures are no longer viable. As winter approaches and the weather becomes harsher, with temperatures dropping significantly, farmers bring their herds into shelters to protect them from the cold winds and snowstorms. These shelters are typically built with insulated walls to withstand the cold. The stored hay becomes the primary source of food for the cattle over winter, ensuring that they receive enough nutrition. Many farmers also supplement the hay with grains or additional feed, such as sugar beets and oats, to boost the cattle's immunity during the colder months. The grasslands of Central Asia span millions of hectares, providing a vast natural resource for cattle farming. These grasslands are mostly found in arid steppes or highland regions, where the harsh climate is well suited for cattle growth. Thanks to the climate's shift from warm in the spring to hot and dry in the summer, the grasslands regenerate and grow steadily. During the summer, the herds are moved to higher, cooler mountain pastures to escape the heat. In the winter, when temperatures drop, cattle are moved to lower pastures or shelters to protect them from the harsh cold. Hybrid cattle breeds can produce up to 18 litres of milk a day, in contrast to the 7 or 8 litres typically produced by local breeds. On small traditional farms, hand milking is still common. Farmers use metal buckets to collect the milk. On larger farms, milking machines are increasingly used, improving efficiency and ensuring hygiene. Freshly milked milk is usually filtered and stored in cool containers or large tanks. If refrigeration isn't available, the milk is typically used immediately to avoid spoilage. The milk may be left for a few hours to sour slightly, and then gently warmed to around 30 to 40 degrees Celsius to prepare for coagulation. To ensure a continuous and stable supply, dairy farms need to be located near populated areas and trading hubs. However, in more remote areas, farms specialise in beef rely on longer intermediary chains. Because beef does not need to be consumed immediately and can be stored in cold storage or exported, cattle farms in remote regions don't face significant challenges in supplying meat to large cities or exporting them to the neighbouring countries. The demand for antibiotic-free and growth hormone-free meat is rapidly growing. Organic livestock farms in Central Asia are capitalising on this trend to supply high-quality, environmentally friendly meat that aligns with international preferences. Once the cattle are fully grown and healthy, farmers sell them to slaughterhouses or larger livestock farms. Most of the beef is delivered to butcher stalls at local food markets, meeting the demand for fresh beef among the local population. Thanks to natural grazing and frequent movement, the beef has a firm muscle structure while remaining tender, making it suitable for various cooking methods. Additionally, large cattle markets in Central Asia are where locals and traders gather to buy and sell cattle in bulk, serving both domestic needs and export demands. Central Asia has become a major beef supplier for countries like Russia, China, and many other markets. Beef raised on natural pastures is highly valued for its quality, thanks to the natural grazing methods and grass-based nutrition. Central Asian countries not only raise indigenous cattle breeds, but also crossbreed them with high-yield varieties to increase productivity and meat quality. The process of raising, trading, and processing livestock in Central Asia reflects not only economic development, but also a harmonious blend of traditional and modern methods. New farming models and diverse processed products have helped Central Asia establish its role on the global meat export map. Steak is tasty, but have you ever tried buffalo meat from the third largest exporter? Sweet and chewy, with 41% less cholesterol compared to beef, smoked buffalo is one of the most popular and expensive snacks in rural China. Today, we will explore the production of both buffalo meat and beef in rural China to see what sets it apart. Chinese buffalo are of a swamp variety and are mainly distributed in the countryside of 18 provinces in southern China. Farmers raise buffalo in small, often family-run herds. They say the best direction for the barn is to face south or southeast. At birth, buffalo calves typically weigh around 66 pounds. In their first few months, the primary nutrition comes from their mother's milk, just like calves raised in the US. Once they reach around 7 months old, the calves transition to a diet of roughage, including grass and hay. They are often allowed to roam vast pastures, where they can consume 40 to 50 pounds of grass daily. By 18 months of age, a well-raised calf can weigh between 880 to 1100 pounds, with a daily weight gain of around 1.7 pounds. Farmers also focus on hygiene, bathing or washing their buffaloes daily in summer, and once a week in the winter to ensure they stay clean and free of skin disease. 1-year-old male calves are castrated to prepare for the fattening process when they turn 2. Buffaloes at this age already have strong teeth, so their ability to chew food is better. This helps in increasing body weight by 15 to 20%. Similar to cattle, buffaloes are also vaccinated against common diseases such as anthrax and tuberculosis. The fattening period lasts around 3 months. In the first and second months, farmers clean the barn, deworm, and feed the buffalo. Unlike the confined feedlots often seen in the US, buffaloes in rural China continue to graze on pastures during fattening, supplemented with concentrated feeds such as rice straw, corn, and silage. In the 3rd month, farmers add starchy foods to the buffalo's diet and let them eat close together to limit energy consumption and increase fat accumulation. During this period, buffaloes will gain between 1.1 and 2.2 pounds daily. In regions like Guilin, there is an estimated 160 acres of developed agricultural land, and farmers take advantage of the rainy season from May until October for grazing. They also rotate their animals to different pastures, ensuring the grasslands aren't overused. This method reduces feed costs and maximizes growth, allowing buffaloes to reach a target weight of between 1,540 to 1,760 pounds in just 3 months. Buffaloes are often sold at local livestock markets, where farmers bring their animals to be auctioned or sold directly to buyers. These markets are usually held weekly or bi-weekly. Slaughterhouses in rural China typically process 2 to 3 buffalo a day. A single buffalo can yield a large amount of meat, so a small-scale facility requires more than 20 people in order to handle the various tasks. These women are cutting the large chunks of meat into smaller pieces and removing tough tendons. They do this before and after the tendons have been removed. This red meat will be marinated with spices and skewered onto metal rods. Then, these meat rods are hung on a drying rack over a low heat source, such as a charcoal grill or a wood-burning stove, for several hours. Once the meat is completely dry, it is firm and chewy, and is stored in an airtight container in a cool, dry place for several months. China exports a significant portion of its buffalo meat to neighbouring countries like Vietnam, as well as its other international markets. In fact, China ranks 3rd in the world for buffalo production, with over 22 million buffaloes contributing to the global meat supply. As demand for healthier meat grows, Could buffalo farming offer lessons for the world's future? China is the third largest cattle producer in the world, with nearly 100,000 heads. But this industry is predominantly made of small-scale farmers. Over 90% of Chinese cattle operations process fewer than 10 cattle per year. China is divided into three main agricultural regions for cattle farming. The rural cattle farms concentrate in the pastoral regions like Inner Mongolia, Xinjiang in the northeast, and in the southwest. In contrast to the large-scale industrial farms in the US, where specialized feedlots can rear thousands of calves, in rural China, calves are grazed on expansive grasslands like this after weaning at around 6 months of age. This is a familiar sight if you visit rural China, but this country has also seen a rise in large-scale industrial farming. Xinjiang has invested over $280 million to build breeding facilities covering over 650 acres. Farmers here have seen an increase in annual household income of over $6,800. This improvement has seen calf mortality drop by nearly 20%. After the initial calf rearing stage, this is the disease management and fattening stage. In the farming pastoral regions, cattle are frequently dipped to protect them from common diseases, such as parasitic infections. Much of the fattening diet in Xinjiang includes locally grown crops, especially alfalfa, soy, and corn, which have grown over 1,500 acres of dedicated land. By contrast, in the US, cattle are usually fattened in large industrial feedlots, where diets are scientifically managed to optimize weight gain. Despite that, Chinese cattle can reach a market weight of around 1,200 to 1,500 pounds in around 18 months, slightly faster than the 24 months often seen in the US. One of the largest livestock markets in rural China is Uruguay. Most cattle here are sold for slaughtering. The entire slaughtering process is often done in small-scale slaughterhouses. The beef produced here is typically consumed domestically, with families selling meat to local markets. Without modern refrigeration, people often use traditional preservation methods such as drying and smoking. However, companies like Hoye in Jilin and Kirchen in Inner Mongolia now utilize modern processing equipment, enabling the process of over 30,000 cattle per year. After being stunned, the skin is carefully removed by knife. Then, a specialized tool is used to ensure it remains intact for potential use in leather products. The carcass is divided into various cuts, depending on their intended use. Common cuts include meat for consumption, bones for soup or broth, and organs for specific dishes and medicinal purposes. The processed meat is packaged and distributed to markets, restaurants, or processing plants for further value-added products like pure beef burgers. Modernized slaughterhouses are crucial, as beef consumption in China has outpaced domestic production. Since 2013, China has been a net importer of beef, with significant imports from Australia, Brazil, and Uruguay. In 2017, China imported 620,000 tons of beef to fill the gap between production and consumption, which is increasing steadily every year. In 2023, China imported 2.74 million tons of beef, but in the first quarter of 24 alone, this country imported 1 million tons.